Welcome to the Focus and Chill podcast, where we discuss productivity tactics that work for neurodivergent individuals.
Every episode, we interview guests with lived experience of neurodiversity who also have a solid productivity and habit game, and pass the learnings on to you, our wise and benevolent audience.
We're your hosts, Jeremy and Joey.
I'm Joey, and I coach creatives to get moving on their most ambitious projects through the power of solid habits and strong focus. I'm also a perpetual student of psychology and perpetually on a quest to a one-armed chin-up.
And I'm Jeremy, a neurospicy software developer turned startup founder, building the Focus Bear app to help people with ADHD and autism thrive at work. My cool party trick is leaving parties early so I can get to sleep in time for my 2-hour-long morning routine. The Focus and Chill podcast is brought to you by Focus Bear, a focus enhancement app for ADHDers. That's adults with both combined autism and ADHD. I'm Jeremy, I'm an ADHDer myself. I'm the founder of Focus Bear and also one of the hosts of this podcast. I built Focus Bear for myself originally because I was constantly getting distracted by my phone and my laptop. I wanted a way to tame my ADHD monkey mind so I'd stop going down rabbit holes and actually get work done, but also get off my computer and my phone in the evening so I'd be able to sleep properly. It's working perfectly for me and it's helping a lot of ADHDs as well. I'd love for you to try it. It's available for Mac, Windows, iOS and Android, and it leverages most of the productivity strategies we talk about on the podcast. You can jump onto focusbear.io or just Google Focus Bear and try it out. Let me know what you think. Welcome to episode number 63 of the Focus and Chill podcast. We're thrilled to be joined by Errin Anderson today. Errin is a dedicated ADHD Clarity Coach, empowering professionals with ADHD through his 90-day program. Offering personalized strategies and motivational support, he helps individuals overcome challenges, focusing on their strengths. His empathetic, focused approach aims to transform personal and professional lives, understanding the unique hurdles faced by those with ADHD. Great to have you on the show, Errin, and thanks a lot for coming on. I know it's late for you.
Yeah, it's very, very early here in the UK, but it's great to be on with you two guys as well. Hopefully having some good conversations as we move forward.
So let's start off with your journey of getting diagnosed. When did that happen and what led up to that?
Yeah, so my diagnosis was quite late. So I was only diagnosed a year ago. So I was 32 when I was officially diagnosed, and that was a journey in itself to actually go down that route, diagnosis and exploring potential ADHD or other neurodiversity concerns that could be there. Yeah, and it was kind of based on a rough patch I was going through with my health, and it kind of made me go, I need to see what else is there and start looking after myself. And that's kind of what started that journey, and then seeking a diagnosis and speaking to family and friends who also been diagnosed and having that same conversation with them. I think it's a journey everybody goes through. If you go, is it ADHD? Is it no ADHD? And that's probably a journey 2 years before I officially went, right, time to go and look at it and explore what could be going on. So that's been a really interesting journey over the last couple of years going through that.
Yeah, so it sounds like the ADHD was underlying some of the other health problems.
Yeah, I definitely comorbidity with ADHD as well. So it was really that. It's when the penny dropped. It's when the official diagnosis happened. You go, oh, it makes sense now. I get it. You're always questioning, why am I different? Why is this happening? But actually, that was the minute I went, right, it all makes sense now. Now I know what it is. Now I can start to process and work through it and understand what I need to make it work for me.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like it was a burden lifted off to actually have a reason.
Definitely. That whole pressure, weight, going, just that kind of relief, right? Okay, it's fine. This is how I'm meant to be, but let's look at how we can cope with that and put strategies in that in place as well. Yeah, it was a very interesting couple of years, even before that, kind of exploring that and that self-doubt I think most of us face when we come to get diagnosed later in life. Is that kind of exploring, like, is it this? Is it a phase? Is it just going through a stage of depression? Is it what else is going really there? And you kind of always like push it to the back. Well, it's not that, it's not that. But actually having that diagnosis made a huge difference. And it's taking that pressure off and go, right, okay, how do we work with this moving forward?
What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Oh, challenges. Where do you start when you talk about everything that goes on with neurodiversity and ADHD? I think the one thing that always sticks in my mind was a friend I had in one of my previous jobs, and she used to always say, Erin, you're like a Duracell bunny on drugs. You never stop. You're just 100 miles an hour. And it wasn't until diagnosis stage that really came back to me and made me go, oh, right, okay, that's where it comes from. That's how it starts. Issues where kind of focus, like having that time that I can just get my head down at a piece of work and really, really get into the nitty gritty, but also noticing times when I've got into the nitty gritty and then at that hyper focus stage and try to work out why can I not focus on this one piece of work? But the minute there was a deadline, loved it. I can do it. And I always mind when I was at university, I used to sit up at midnight, write messes and assignments, but were due the next morning. But it was that kind of like, I need to do this. There was a structure, there was a time to have it all done and dusted by. I think the other big one was like your brain's just going 100 miles an hour constantly. And it's like that noise. Trying to explain to somebody, it's like, what do you mean noise? Like, just busyness, constantly going 1,000 miles an hour. And that was really the bit I struggled with, was that busyness, wanting to do everything quick and not taking that pause.
Yeah, I can totally relate. It's a great analogy, the Duracell bunny on drugs, going many directions at the same time. What's it like now for you?
For me, it's been an interesting couple of years, and obviously the year since diagnosis. I've decided to invest in me, and that has been a great experience just to understand how I work, how my ADHD works, and then coming up with the tailored strategies and tools that kind of help me. And I've done that through coaching to help me. So one-to-one coaching is what I decided to take that approach with, and not losing things. That used to be my big thing. It's like, where's my phone? Where's my wallet? Where's the keys?
Hmm.
Constantly. I know that sounds normal, whatever normal is. To everybody's like, oh, where have I put this? Where have I put that? Now making sure I put stuff in the same place all the time. So I know the phone's always there, the wallet's always in that bag at the front. So it's about kind of building in the habits. Now I would say as well, it's more about exploring. I think before, I said this one in my coaching sessions, was you're either happy or you're angry or private. As we say, whereas now it's actually realizing there's a lot of different emotions that could be going on, and actually starting to unpick that a wee bit, to try and understand like what actually is this emotion I'm feeling, and have that space and time to kind of focus on that and explore it a wee bit more, instead of just going, right, oh, doesn't feel right, right, move on. But it's going, taking time and pausing and going, well, why am I feeling this? What is it actually? What's the root reason of that? I kind of take that reflection stage, I would say.
Hmm. We had another guest who had a similar challenge, and they had an alexithymia cushion, big emotions on the outside, and then the more subtle ones. Maybe it's the other way.
Yes,
I liked that
yeah,
idea because I'm the same, the way you described
uh,
it, happy or angry, and being able
yeah,
to lean into the nuance is
yeah,
a good journey.
definitely. And we talk a lot about the feelings wheel as well, and it's that like there's the big emotions on the outside, and actually there's the nitty gritty, and what does that actually mean? And I've
Mm.
used that for clients as well, doing my coaching, and that's been really interesting for them, even to go through that journey. Also, I'm still going through that journey at the same time, exploring that, and it is really, really good.
And often ADHD has superpowers as well as challenges. What's it like for you? What are some of the strengths that you've been leaning into?
So at the moment, I have a major session with Canva.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if you guys have heard it, but that creativity and just getting lost. How can I make this look nice? How can I look at that color? Um, how can it be more visually pleasing for me instead of just white paper? So get lost in Canva a lot lately, but there's always a good result at the end of it. So it's not wasted time, it's always got a productive outcome. Well, that makes a huge difference. I think the big one kind of touched on it quite a few bits now is like being me, understanding my true self, exploring who I am, what I am, what's my purpose, what's my values, and actually really focusing on what I need
Mm.
and letting that mask drop. That brick wall needs to break down bit by bit, and
Mm.
actually not just having that mask on constantly, but you just get everyone's always the same. and
Mm.
actually just embrace who I am
Mm.
and just be me with people and
Mm.
think
Does it
outside the box.
relate to authenticity when
Yeah.
you're speaking to other people as well? Because I think there's probably a lot of filtering that can go on, but actually not filtering in the right context can be, I
Yeah.
think, a real strength and really important to have people who are willing to be brave enough to point out things that are wrong or things that can be done differently.
Yeah, and it's that just having that safe space and the
Mm.
amount of people that have obviously came out and spoke about my ADHD, that actually more and more people who you meet and have conversations with about it as well. And you're like, hey, I never realised that about them. I can be me and they can be them. And it's like that kind of trust relationship building. And then folk at work need to tell me, shut up, but that's fine. Because I might gab for ages. And I think it's like having that safe space for everybody to kind of have that option and be honest with each other. And I always say, I'm going to put a sign on my day. Didn't speak to me, or you've got to be sat here for 2 hours. I'm not going to have about 10 cups of coffee. So it's about kind of expectations as we old people and try to mind to get back to where you want to be and what your focus is. And it's that visual reminder for me to say, you've been gabbing for half an hour. You've got this project due in 20 minutes. You've got a webinar to deliver or your wedding coaching sessions and having that physical timers built into my calendar to remind me where I'm meant to be. Otherwise, it'll be 10 o'clock at night and I'll still be having the conversation I started at 5 in the morning.
We'll make sure we have the visual reminders during our podcast as well. And anything else that stands out as a strength for you?
I think obviously going through coaching myself and doing my coaching training, that is that been really being able to listen to others. We want to fill the silent gaps and actually allow the silence to kind of cover the silences and not have that break, but actually allow that space to develop because that's also our time for thinking. But it's also where we're having a conversation with also their time to think on how they're responding or how you're responding to that. So it's really about more active listening instead of what would say selective listening, where you listen to bits that you go, right, okay, I can what you're talking about, and that's it, and you move on, and try to reduce that distraction and kind of changing the environment around about me, so I'm not getting constantly distracted like Baron's Teddy that's sitting on my desk keeps kind of catch my eye. So it's about for me having that stuff removed around about it as well, so then I'm in control of what's going on and what environment is, and then being able to say, right, it's a clear space, I can fully engage and listen in that conversation and have that challenging conversations as well. And not feel you're rushing to get through it, to get, oh, 10 minutes, I need to go. Okay, it's actually saying, right, we've got 10 minutes. What do you want to focus on first? What's the key thing here? And it's probably about being that more direct, but not abruptly direct. Kind of that like expectations, listening, taking it on board what's going on and what they're saying and sometimes just reflecting on it and say, I'll come back to you. I need to think about that.
Has the listening always been a strength of yours, or is that something in the last year that you've developed? Because I think it
It's,
seems like it's challenging for people. I find it
it
really
can
hard
be.
to resist the urge to fill in.
Yeah, I think it's been a journey, definitely. It's been interesting. If you said five, oh, let's go back, probably 10, 15 years ago, hate silence. Whereas
Mm.
now, it's fine. Have it, but don't ask me to have silence when I'm working. That's mayhem. But in a conversation, now I can allow that silence and kind of understand why we need it. Whereas before it was like, oh, there's been a 2 second gap, we need to fill it. It was trying to restrain me for filling it, but it's been a process of learning it and getting used to it and adapting to it. I always say to change anything, you need to keep trying it, and eventually it could happen. And it always takes, it's a silly example. Years ago, I used to work for a skincare company who I used to always say to clients I worked with was, you need to try a skincare product for 28 days to actually see if it's working. But
Mm.
it's like that when you learn that new skill, try it for 28 days, then it just comes embedded and you start to use it more and more without even realizing because you've just practiced it.
Okay. So you found that the combination of clearing distractions from your environment and just practicing it has allowed you to become a better listener. Is there anything
Yeah,
else you do? Do you use like sensory toys while you're listening, anything like that to make it easier?
yeah, fidgeting constantly. I always mind my very, very first coaching client who also had ADHD. And I went and got a box of fidget toys because it was an in-person client. And I was like, here we go. And it was great because both of us were just fidgeting away, and it was completely relaxed, but still having that in-depth, meaningful conversation through the coaching.
Mm.
I no longer have a clicky pen because I will sit and click whatever. And I've got a fidget ring away. I've not got one actually right now. But normally I've got that one, and it's no noisy for anybody else, but it just keeps my brain doing 5 things at once instead of one. So it's
Mm.
always that different
Mm.
options.
Yeah, I have to do the same. Do you ever do?
Well, it's funny, I had a meeting with somebody today. Goes, hey, we go walk. And they turn and say, every conversation we have turns into a coaching conversation. I went, but it's good. It's good. And normally is, let's go for a walk. Let's go and have a blather. And they end up doing coaching stuff, and it turns into 2 weeks between conversation. We never go out with an aim to do a coaching session, but we end up talking about something, and I go in coaching mode automatically. They go into counselling coaching mode as well. So it's really, really good. And that being
Mm.
outdoors. Also, the thing about a sofa really silly. Like you have a better conversation when you're sitting on a sofa with somebody, and it
Mm.
also makes me think about when you're out walking because you're
Mm.
beside each other.
Oh yeah.
Whereas
The eye.
normally you're face to face like this or in a room together, or you've
Mm.
got a desk in front of you, so you've got that barrier. But actually having that free space around about you, you kind of conversation flows a little better as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, the eye contact for me, I think makes it harder for me to think. So I
Yep,
like the couch idea.
that is that like stop staring at me.
Yeah.
There's a conversation walk, and I kind of gone in that direction. But I think everybody's different as well in terms of what they want and what they prefer, they want to work on as well. In that terms of did they prefer online like this? Did they prefer face to face as in close to each other? Did they want to go to walks? And it's about that adaptability, really.
Yeah. Errin, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the work projects that you're concentrating on at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment, obviously, really, really busy, as always. I never stop. You guys are probably exact same. When's a day off? It depends what you mean a day off. So at the minute, obviously, I'm really focusing on my coaching business. That's kind of started at the start of the year, and that's been really focused on neurodiversity, especially like ADHD. When I originally set up my coaching, my plan was to work in the non-profit leadership sector because that's where I come from, that's my background. But actually, through the clients I was starting to work with, I was working more and more with people with neurodiversity, ADHD, autism traits, and that actually said, right, that is the market, that is the place I want to work. So I've really, really been working on that. But ensuring it's a safe space for them and it's somebody who gets it. I think that's, you can see I can talk for Scotland. I can gab a lot, and it's about allowing them to have that space that they can gab but still get a meaningful output as well, and creating that kind of non-judgmental space. I think the kind of the great bits in the coaching is when you're talking on one subject and you end in that complete rabbit hole and you start exploring that, go, all right, okay, right, we'll come back to that. Let's go back to this bit for a bit. It's always just taking notice and allowing them their brain to explore because 9 times out of 10 we're like, right, you need to get back on track. Where actually they need that space because that's probably linked to what they're thinking of already. So it's beginning that time and space to go through it and just not having the pressure. Definitely from the coach. I didn't come with an agenda. I don't have a plan. Maybe do some tips and tools in the background that I know we'll probably get to speak about. But it's very much this is your space, this is your chance to speak about things. And it's like, right, what's the first thing that comes to your head? And that's what we go with. Because there's always something there. And I always go, should what to talk about this week? I'm like, okay, what are you thinking? And there's always something. I mean, that's what then focus on. And then explore that rabbit hole to see what's going on. And then always bring it back to that kind of conclusion. Is it working towards the goals? Where do I want to be? So that's been my kind of my big focus is that kind of personal development. Obviously, I do it in the charity sector as well within my work during the day. And also I'm doing it private clients in the evening and weekends. And it's been great to have that two difference as well. It's been really, really interesting. So that's a lot of my work's going into that at the minute.
Nice. What type of charities did you work with in the past, and which ones do you?
So as I work at the moment, I work for a national charity in Scotland where I support community groups across the whole of Scotland. So that's really, really good. Before that, I was managing charities before, local community based driven. So my last place was an environmental charity around about education. And my previous place before that was really around about anti-poverty work and reducing isolation and regeneration areas. And I kind of moved into this new job almost about a year ago as well, actually. I'm sure it was about 3 weeks after my ADHD diagnosis, I moved job. And it was very much about how can I take my knowledge and skill sets within the charity sector and the business sector and bring that and support a lot more groups. So now we work with a membership of 350 members within the organisations we support. And sometimes it's that really intensive support, nitty-gritty, and finance seems to be one of the things I've picked up on. I love a numbers game. Let me work it out. Or unpick it, untangle it. Why does this not make sense? So yeah, so really, really good at working with people. And also like, we get to the nuts of the problem. But we're there for exploring it and try and help them come out of a challenging situation. Would be lost for the charity work. That's been my bread and butter since day one, I would say, probably.
Yeah, they sound very worthwhile charities. How
Yeah.
about the rest of the time when you're not working? What do you get up to?
So if I'm not working with the charities, or I'm not doing my coaching, obviously I'm busy with the kids. So I've got two kids, boy and girl, 9 and 13, because the oldest one's birthday's next month. So they definitely keep us busy. And obviously my wife as well. So she's a nurse. So there's a lot of shift works between when she's working, when I'm in the office in Edinburgh, and when I'm working from home. So we're real busy with them. Like this next weekend, we're away to a football tournament down in England for a weekend. So we're always out and about doing stuff with football. And then my youngest, she's really into gymnastics and being outdoors and exploring what's going on, and also has ADHD traits as well. So we're currently going through the diagnosis stage, referral stage with her. So there's a lot of time her and kind of recognising myself in her and the stuff I used to do. So that's really, really interesting, seeing it from a different angle.
Well, you're probably the perfect parent for her then.
Oh
You've
well, I
already
don't
been
know.
dealing with your own ADHD traits.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's that Sarah, the wife, kind of saying, it's fine, just let her have her 5 minutes. And we'll come back to it. Just putting these strategies in place and making things easy for her and allowing her to be herself is the big thing. Because obviously females tend to get late diagnosis, tend to go undiagnosed in primary schools. So I was really about allowing her to be her and let her embrace what she wants to be.
Good to hear that. And in the notes, you said you also like getting out into the garden.
Whenever it's sunny.
It's
been nice to
I
do, actually.
have a sense that it's not particularly sunny in Scotland.
No, it's okay. It's not as nice as it would be for you guys. Yeah, like I think today was 13, if you're lucky, degrees here. Nice day though. It's great when there's a bit of sunshine. Makes a big difference. But yeah, we normally get 1 or 2 very hot days, is what we kind of say. And we can start to see summer's coming. Normally raining.
What do you grow in your garden?
So we just moved house as well, so we've not got anything growing at the moment, but we've got our greenhouses all set up, and with Lola, the youngest, we're going to go and pick some veg or fruit she wants to grow in there. And what did we do last year? Last year we done lots of tomatoes. We grew all these tomatoes, and nobody would eat them. But we had to, once we made them into soup, we all ate them. So we're not going for tomatoes this year. I think Lola's got the idea of strawberry plants within the greenhouse. Grow them outside and it's absolutely fine. But I think just to get a better crop, nice juicy red ones would be the key for here. So it'll be interesting to see what she decides she wants to explore as well, because it's also an opportunity for the kids to learn where stuff come from. When I was big in one of the organisations I worked for, everybody just thought fruit and veg came for a shop. And it was actually like growing stage and they were aware of it. So quite keen with Lola and Ollie, because we used to have an allotment to be brought up around about growing fruit and veg and understanding where things come from as well, and how it's better for us. And just got in the shop and buying chocolate and crisps and all that processed stuff. We're actually being able to say we grew this in the garden, we made it in this and see that process from start to finish. It was really good.
Yeah, I love that. I like getting out in the garden myself. I've got a strawberry plant that produced one strawberry the whole season. Hopefully next season I'll learn how to deal with it better. Maybe I need a greenhouse.
No, you should be fine. You should be absolutely fine. Loads of these silly tips. You can have a chat about it.
So, Errin, you were talking about all the different plates you're spinning as well, and also like wanting to go deep with clients, like being able to go down the rabbit hole in your coaching chats and stuff like that. So I'm wondering, like, how do you find that balance between, I guess, like you're deep in a conversation with someone and you want to make sure that it runs to its appropriate conclusion without cutting them off, but also being able to give your other responsibilities their full time? Is it just the visual reminders you were mentioning, or are there other things?
Yeah, very, very mixed. So lots of different ways I do it. So one of the things is to-do lists. I hate to-do lists, but now I love them. But only because I break them down into small, small things. And it is that kind of breaking things right down into that is a small chunk of something I can actually do in 10, 15 minutes. Instead of saying, and you've got to write a £5,000, a 5,000 word report on the community engagement. I actually split that down, like what does that actually look like? What does this mean? And kind of breaking that write it down. I always mind before I always wrote on my notepad every day and rip it out my note and have it sit on my desk. But I'd lose that sheet of paper. So the next morning I would then have to sit and rewrite that whole list again. So it's just a constant cycle. Whereas now I use an online system where I put in all my projects I'm working on, I have all the tasks broken right down for me, and then that puts them in my diary. So then I know, oh right, I need to do this bit next. What's good, and I don't follow it 100%, but it just gives me that structure when I'm looking at stuff going, oh, I've got 15 minutes. Oh, I can do that bit of work because that will only take 10 minutes, so he says. But actually starting to say, right, you've got 10 minutes, you can do that, and kind of split it right down. I think that's been the big changer for me, is that kind of split things down. Obviously, the visual reminders is a
Which
big
software is that? Is that Motion?
use motion, yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few out in the market now as well, people are starting to use. I think when I started the new job, they were all surprised. I was like, here's a link to book a meeting with myself.
Mhm.
Because I can't be bothered to go back and forward with emails to agree a time. Here's
Mm.
a link. Just you pick what works for you because it's all programmed when it works for me. And it's about kind of having that bit of control and not having to deal with 10 emails to arrange one meeting. It's now it's like, here's a link, you can just book it. And having that automation is amazing. Send the Teams link, send the meeting reminders, get the information what they need before it. So it's definitely been a game changer for me using
That's
that.
really interesting because I've gone the opposite way. I used to do everything online, and I found that I just end up with unrealistic plans that I couldn't actually achieve. So I've gone to writing it down on paper, but I do hear the pain of having to copy things over and over again. For me,
Yeah.
that's actually good because it forces me to not write too many things down on the piece of paper because I don't want to have to deal with the pain of copying it over.
So that's I've now moved to a digital notepad as well. It's been the best thing I've ever done.
Hmm.
So these are remarkable. Whereas before I would have 4 or 5 notepads and I would go through a notepad quite quick. And moving to the digital notepad's been a game saver as well because I can write emails on it in my handwriting and convert
Ah.
it to text and just copy and paste it into my emails and send them. So I just need to brainstorm how I'm going to do this. Sometimes you can't beat a paper and pen. Having that option just to say it's all in that one place and it feels like you're writing on paper was a biggie for me because I tried writing with an iPad years ago
Hmm.
and I didn't like it
Hmm.
because I got distracted with everything else that was pinging on the
Yeah.
iPad. It's remarkable. It's just for notes.
Hmm.
Doesn't have any other apps, anything built into it. It's just a notepad. And that's been really, really good.
I have looked at the Remarkable in the past and was thinking it looks like.
Actually, there's always a nice meeting conversation opener. Oh, what notepad's that in? And it always starts the conversation.
Hmm.
So if Remarkable's making tons of money on sales, they could be giving it but this way.
How long have you had the notebook for?
I'm going to say just before Christmas.
Okay. Hmm.
So still fairly new,
Hmm.
but
We'll
really,
have to
really
do
enjoying it.
a round two with you in another year and get another report.
And I'm still be on it.
Yeah.
But not be back to paper. It's so much better.
Joey's.
So I do a lot of my journaling on my phone with my stylus. So a lot
Yeah,
of it is handwriting. I really enjoy that. And I know it doesn't work for many people because they get distracted by their phone. But for
yeah.
me, like my phone is constantly on do not disturb mode. So like I generally don't have any push notifications on or anything like that. So I'm good. I love doing it on my phone because I carry my phone everywhere with me. So like you, it's not like you got to worry about 5 notepads. They're
Yeah.
all in one. Yeah.
Or you move to a new page, you go, where's that note?
Yeah, I can talk
Yeah.
about that topic for ages because it's a problem that a lot of creatives have. I really also
With your
like Errin.
five
Oh yeah,
notepads.
How
Jeremy
many
with his
notes?
five
About
notepads.
5 that I'm actively using at this point.
But I had none.
Errin, you're also mentioning like how you love your to-do list and you hate your to-do list. I was also wondering, like, could you tell us a bit more about some unhelpful productivity advice out there that doesn't quite work for you?
Focus. Because when somebody says you be focused, no, it's not going to happen because you tell me to do it. And I think that was the big thing I struggled with. And it takes me back to like school and everything like that. You need to sit and you need to do it now. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And not in a nasty way, but is that you can't expect me to sit in a chair for 2 hours and sit at exams because I can't do it. Because I'm going to lose interest within 10, 15 minutes and I'm going to get distracted. And the one thing that used to always annoy me, and it still does, it has to be quiet, it has to be silent. Oh, just no, no, can't cope. But then if it's too noisy, I can't cope because I'm in control of it and it's really bad. So for me, it's that controlling the noise level that I need to keep my brain busy because I think somebody was the day at work, so was like, Aaron, you have very random music. I'm like, oh, it's just a playlist. I don't even care what's even playing. But I'm busy, so I'm not thinking about it, but it's just my brain's doing two things at once. Like watching TV with subtitles, so I'm reading and I'm listening at the same time, just to keep things really, really busy. But that sit down, be quiet, focus, has to be silence. Silence is a nightmare.
What type of music do you listen to while you're working?
Bit everything. It's the honest answer is a bit everything. Normally it's just whatever's on Spotify, a random playlist. I think what was one today? Work office playlist. It's like that'll do. And I just have something on in the background. And then for the rest of the teams in, we all have very different music. So it was really, really good. And then start talking about, I've not heard that song in years. Who was that again? So it's really, really good. And how sometimes Christmas music turns on in March and like any full Christmas music on. I'm like, oh, didn't realise, just singing away. Um, so it's always good. And I think that background noise, radios, music in the background.
So you don't try and do lyric-free music. You're okay if there's lyrics in there. So I find personally I can only do instrumental music, otherwise it's distracting for me.
Yeah. I think it depends as well. If like I'm hyper, like major focus. Once I can forget the music's there, 'cause I'm so engrossed. But then other times you go, oh, no, but then you get distracted. You're like away having a conversation about it at work. Sometimes, as Fiance all seems to come up in conversations at work. But
Mhm.
I think it's that balance as well, because some people can have, like you're saying yourself, you struggle with the lyrics, because that is like you're trying to listen to every single word that's been
Mm.
said, and you're forgetting what you're actually doing out there. I just think any noise, even folk chattering in the background,
Mm.
helps a wee bit. But then I sit with cancelling headphones on a bus going into work for my commute, and it's great because then it's just me, and I can engross in a podcast or listen to music of what's going on as well.
Mm.
Then an hour later, I realise I'm in Edinburgh, I need to get off a bus. What is really good, and just takes that weight away. Like if you're waiting to get somewhere, that can seem like forever. Or some music, podcasts in the background just to kind of take your mind off what's going on.
Mm. And often when you're listening to the radio or Spotify, they'll have commercial breaks in there, and we're no
Oh,
different. So we're gonna take a break now.
Hi there, Focus and Chillers. Are you ready to supercharge your knowledge in the realms of creativity, tech, and psychology? Come check out my fortnightly newsletter. In each edition, you'll get quick wins and actionable takeaways that you can put into practice right away. If this sounds like you, I'd love to have you as a reader. Subscribe for your fortnightly dose of insights. The link is in the show notes. And now, let's get back to the show.
All right. We're back from our break and keen to hear about how you manage communication with neurotypical people who might not understand some of the challenges.
yeah. And I think if you reflect back, when I'll go back and think about how I used to engage with people, I used to close down, I used to be disengaged. I used to kind of go insular until I felt comfortable building that relationship up. And you always go, I'm sorry, I keep talking, just tell me to shut up if I keep going. I think that was kind of the hardest bit, is kind of no closing down, no disengaging, and still be myself. But can you have that relationship with people where you can say, just go and tell me if I'm rabbiting on for ages and being that kind of, I need my brain to switch off sometimes. And I think it's that, for me, it's all about that relationship building and kind of building up with neurotypical people as well, that they need to understand how I work as well. And I don't have to conform to what everybody else expects me to conform to, but having that mutual understanding as well. But they're going to ask me to speak to a random person on the street, you have got no chance. That's why everything's done on an app.
Errin, can you tell us a bit more about your morning routine? What does it look like and how has it evolved over time?
Yeah, so morning routine. I would go back to say, what's a morning routine? I used to jump out of bed, get ready, and go to work. That was my life. So if I was up at 6 in the morning, I was in the office by 6:30 and I worked 10 minutes up the road. Whereas now I'm up an hour and a half, 2 hours before I need to actually leave. And then that's just that time for me to get some breakfast and just kind of wake up and realise where I am, what I'm doing for the day, and kind of taking that slower space instead of just running constantly the 100 miles an hour and building up to right, getting the bus at 7, I'm up at 5:30, I've got an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, 5.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
Yeah, everybody says, yeah, so I'll be up in 4 hours to go to work. But yeah, aye. And especially the days I've got in the office, that's my time, get up, get the house to be tidy in the morning, take a bit of time for me, check up on my emails, do personal stuff I need to do. Then it's right, go on the bus. Then that's that. I listen to podcasts, relax, chill it for an hour, then get into work. Then I'm ready and focus on work. So aye, that's really it compared to what it used to be. Just get up and go and 50 coffees by lunchtime. I just now end up converted to decaf coffee. Well, it's been hard, but it's been good.
Nice one. And so you're mentioning the 50 coffees. So dare I ask, how is your sleep and how do you switch off at night?
How is my sleep? If you asked me 6 months ago, I would say rubbish. Obviously, because of the amount of coffee I was drinking and my brain going at 100 miles an hour. So I sleep I really struggled with for probably about a year and a half initially. But whereas back then you'd be lucky if I slept 4 or 5 hours a night, whereas now I can actually wind down at night. I can slow down before I go to bed. So then after I go to bed, I'm going to sleep. Hopefully, 9 out of 10 times. I'll fall asleep quite quick, and then I'm up in the morning, I'm a lot more refreshed. And then that again, going back in that morning routine, you kind of taking that couple of hours before I need to be anywhere, kind of winding back up. I think that's been the biggie. Instead of being 100 miles, slowed it.
Hmm. Yeah, they really go together, the evening routine and getting enough sleep and the morning routine.
Yeah, definitely.
Where can people connect with you or find your work?
Everywhere. So best place to get me is on socials, so Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and obviously I've got my website as well as philanthropique.co.uk. Guys can reach out to me anywhere on that. But I definitely socials is the best place to kind of have a look. And if you want to look at articles or blogs I've written, Brains magazine is a good place to have a wee look as well. But yeah, definitely socials, you'll find lots of interesting stuff. And I would say my social media channels are very mixed. It's not always about the business, it's a bit about me, it's a bit about my journey. So it's definitely worthwhile having a look and even just getting in touch and arranging a chat. Like, this is how we started the conversation, was through a chat, through something else. So it's definitely the best way to get in touch.
Well, Errin, it's been wonderful having you on. Do you have any final words or asks for our audience?
No words. This is when I try and not say a million things in 2 seconds. So kind of the one thing I've learned through my journey with ADHD, my journey with coaching, and all that, is be you, be yourself, learn about yourself, and start to take that pressure off you. And you never know, that one conversation you have with somebody who gets it might just change everything, and then kind of unlock and untangle what is going on for you. My big A would be yourself, embrace who you are, and learn more about you.
Wonderful. And we'll wrap the show with that.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Focus and Chill podcast. To listen to other episodes, jump onto podcast.focusbear.io. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or you know someone who'd be a good fit, email us at team@focusbear.io. Otherwise, stay focused, stay chilled, and peace out.